Hello, welcome to Korea 4.0, Arirang TV's brand new economic program, and I'm your host, Chung Se-mi. The interest between countries is entangled in economic issues, such as the United States-China trade war, as well as the South Korea-Japan trade disputes. For our very first edition of Korea 4.0, we'll take a look at the robotics industry, which is comprised of core technologies of the fourth industrial revolution, such as artificial intelligence, cloud computing, big data, and more. And we will take a closer look at the current status of Korean robotics industry and seek ways to accomplish technology independence.
The trade disputes between South Korea and Japan continue after Japan's decision to remove South Korea as a preferred trading partner and impose tighter controls on exports on July 1st. In response to this, the Korean government has excluded Japan from its export control whitelist. Korean companies are now turning critical situations into opportunities. They're starting anew to accomplish technology independence, and the Korean government is actively supporting the companies. Back in August, President Moon Jae-in visited a Korean company that manufactures robot components.
일본이 우리나라를 백색 국가에서 배제를 하면서 우리 국민들과 정부 그리고 대기업을 가리지 않고 우리 부품 소재 기업, 특히 강소기업의 소중함을 더 절실하게 느끼게 되었습니다.
The Korean robotics industry had relied heavily on Japan, but now the industry is beginning to form a self-reliance ecosystem. Let us now go over the tasks at hand and see what should be done on Korea 4.0.
Pleased to welcome Professor Han Chang-soo of the Department of Interdisciplinary Engineering Systems at Hanyang University. Welcome, Professor. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Every January in Las Vegas, United States, people gather here to get a glimpse into the latest IT trends and technologies for the year, and it is none other than the CES, Consumer Electronics Show. And at this year's CES, there were many robots that were introduced. So could you tell us a little more about that?
As you might see, this year's CES saw a lot of boost in service sector robot, more so than industrial robot. For instance, the guide robot in airport, maybe cooking robot in the kitchen. Those are one of the good examples. Exposition presented more AI-based robot, which can be used in our daily lives.
Yeah.
That is the typical trends in robot shows.
I mean, it's quite fascinating how fast technology changes and robots could change our everyday lives. Why is the robotics industry such a keyword in this present era where we so often talk about the importance of the fourth industrial revolution?
One of the key characteristics in the fourth industrial revolution, the connectivity, customization, and collaborations. And the robot industry embodies the three C's, and thus we can say robot play a crucial role in the fourth industrial revolution.
I guess to sum up, the technology that embodies artificial intelligence or big data, cloud computing, all these core technologies of the fourth industrial revolution comes to robots. Yeah. It's important that we take a look at how rapidly the robotics industry is growing at a global level. How is that?
There was more than 16% in annual increase in robot industry in the global market in 2017. And in 21, we can expect an increase of about $55 million in the robot industry.
So annual increase of 16.5%. That's quite fast if you think about it.
But the service robot area increase is over 20%.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
So more so on service sector than
Yes,
industrial robots.
Yes.
Wow, okay.
That's exactly matching to the CES shows the examples.
So from the data, we could now well say that South Korea is the world's #1 country in terms of using robots. But ironically speaking, it falls behind the United States and Japan in terms of manufacturing and developing robot technology. So why do you think is the reason behind South Korea slacking behind in terms of manufacturing or developing these technologies?
I think we lack in the core technology in robot industry. Technology-wise, Japan takes up about 85%.
85%?
Yes. We don't have the big companies like another nations.
Sort of like if you, two tops here in Korea would be Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, such leading companies, we don't have them.
We don't
That's what
have
you're
that
saying.
kind of a semiconductor market area.
So what kinds of leading companies are there globally then in terms of robotics industry?
For instance, Fanuc in Japan or KUKA in Germany and ABB company in Switzerland. Those are one of the leading companies in the world. Compared to Japan, South Korea falls back about a year, actually 1.3 year in the advancement of technology.
Oh, I see, I see. So why do you think is the reason behind that?
That we don't have the core technology in robot industry. For instance, sensor and actuators and other components.
Core components, we
Yeah,
don't have
we
them
don't have
also.
that, yeah.
We are also importing a lot of those from other countries.
Yes.
I see. Another question that I want to ask you, Professor, is how much South Korea is dependent on other countries when it comes to manufacturing core components needed for robots. So what is Korea's current status on that at the moment?
According to government data, South Korea imported approximately 52% of core component.
52%?
Yes.
That's
For the-
almost a half.
Yes, for the robot industry, that is especially from Japan.
I see.
And those core components can be reduction gear or sensor and controller. Those are key core components.
So from this discussion, we could well say that South Korea is heavily dependent upon Japan, other countries for importing these core components. But in times like this, where South Korea and Japan trade disputes continue, one can easily imagine how it will affect the South Korean companies as well as robotics industry in Korea. The key for South Korean companies is to successfully manage localization. And that's why I paid a personal visit to a particular company that successfully manages localizing and self-producing products. So let's take a look.
SBB TECH is a small and hidden giant with strong technical knowledge. This company manufactures bearings and precision gearboxes, which are used as components for semiconductors, LCD monitors, and robots. Until now, South Korea relied heavily on Japanese imports for precision gearboxes for robots. But after a decade of research, in 2012, SBB TECH became the first Korean company to locally manufacture precision gearboxes. The company's perseverance was recognized, and in accordance to Korea's Awards and Decorations Act, SBB TECH was presented with an industrial insignia. This company is in the spotlight once again after Japan's announcement to remove South Korea from its whitelist.
이 때문에 어려움이 있는데 우리 SBB로서는 오히려 이제 기회가 될 수 있어요.
맞습니다. 완벽히 국산화시킬 수 있는 기회가 오는.
SBB TECH is now the second company in the world to develop and manufacture precision gearboxes for robots. This is a product which Japan has been monopolizing until now.
SBB 테크에서 국내 최초로 제작한 고정밀 감속기란 어떤 것인가요?
저희들이 개발한 그 감속기는 이제 하모닉 타입의 감속기라 부르는데 부품 세 가지로 높은 감속기를 낼 수 있기 때문에 특히나 로봇 관절 부분에 좀 많이 쓰이고 있는 그 감속기입니다.
누구도 도전하지 않았던 이 고정밀 감속기 개발 뭐 상당히 어려움이 많으셨을 것 같은데 어떤 계기로 이렇게 도전하게 되신 건가요?
저희 회사가 기존에 취급하고 있던 그 제품이 그 초박형 베어링입니다. 초박형 베어링은 그 반도체나 웨이프 생산용 공정에서 쓰이는 로봇에 주로 이제 적용되는데요. 그런데 그 로봇을 구동하는 감속기가 뭐 기존에 다 일본 제품인 걸 갖다가 보고 그래서 이걸 갖다가 이제 국산화해야 되겠다 그런 그 생각이 있어가지고 그걸 갖다가 국산화 시작하게 되었고요. 특히나 저희들이 하는 제품이 초박형이기 때문에 그 감속기 부품도 아주 얇으면서도 그 유연성이 높은 제품이기 때문에 기존에 저희 기술하고 연관성이 있기 때문에 쉽게 할 수 있다 판단해서 시작했습니다.
The precision gearbox for robots decelerates the motor power for a stronger acceleration. The precision gearbox made by SBB TECH applies a detailed design and technique development for rotation accuracy, low vibration, and low noise. That is why the planning and the manufacturing steps are fastidious.
플렉스 스플라인, 서큘러 스플라인, 그다음에 웨이브 제너레이터 이 세 가지로 구성이 되어 있는데요. 그 제품들이 단순하게 어떤 한 가공 기술이나 뭐 소재 기술만으로 이루어진 거 아니고 이제 조화롭게 플렉스 스플라인과 서큘러 스플라인 웨이브 제너레이터 부품이 조화롭게 구동이 되어야 되는 그런 부분이 있거든요. 그래서 그 소재 기술, 가공 기술, 그다음에 여러 기술들이 복합적으로 좀 구성되어져야 되는 그런 부분이 있습니다.
A data that shows the growth rate of the robotics industry for the next 5 years until 2021 was publicized by the International Federation of Robot last year. This data shows that manufacturing robots will see an annual growth of 10%. Service robots will see an annual growth of 13%. And thus, the data shows a huge growth potential. The size of the global market will also increase. By the year 2021, the market size of manufacturing robots will grow to $23.6 billion. The market size of service robots is expected to reach $20.2 billion. However, there is a lack of interest in the robotics industry in Korea. Components and parts for robots are the vulnerable points in the Korean robotics industry.
국산화를 해서 저희 제품이 안정화된다면 좀 더 쉽고 안정적으로 그리고 싸게 저희 제품을 일본 거와 같은 제품을 저희가 직접 구매할 수 있으니까 아무래도 그런 장점들이 존재할 것 같습니다.
Despite inadequate circumstances, SBB TECH made a tremendous achievement but have yet to complete the demonstration test. The company is currently retailing small-scale manufactured goods.
로봇 부품 산업체로서 힘든 점이라던가 이런 점은 좀 고쳐줬으면 좋겠다 이런 부분이 있으실까요?
일단 저희들이 이 감속기를 개발하고 실제 이제 그 수요 기업 만나서 저희 제품의 우수성을 설명하고 뭐 어떤 사용해 줄 것을 요청하긴 했지만은 사실은 이제 처음 국산을 개발해서 어떤 신뢰성이나 이런 부분에 검증이 좀 미흡했습니다. 그렇기 때문에 어떤 신뢰성 검증 때문에 선뜻 사주기를 꺼려하고 뭐 이런 부분이 많았는데 개발한 지 3년이 넘었지만은 지금도 어떻게 보면 그런 과정을 거치고 있습니다. 그리고 앞으로는 이게 점점 더 저희 제품의 품질이나 이런 게 더 나아지기 때문에 좀 더 괜찮아질 거라 생각했습니다.
President Moon Jae-in's visit to SBB TECH helped boost the company's morale.
SBB 테크는 세계에서 두 번째 정밀 제어용 감속기를 개발하는 데 성공을 해서 로봇 부품 자립화의 기반을 만들었고 우리 제조업의 경쟁력 강화에도 아주 큰 힘이 되고 있습니다. SBB 테크 임직원 여러분의 의지와 노력이 이런 어떤 비상한 시기를 맞아서 모범 사례로 더욱 주목을 받게 되었습니다. 진심으로 감사를 드립니다.
중소기업이 이제 근무 환경이 좀 열악하잖아요. 그래가지고 대통령님께서 오셔가지고 이제 저희가 이제 근무하는 환경도 보시고 어려운 점이 뭐냐, 너네들이 이제 고민하고 있는 점이 무엇이냐, 우리가 와서 도와줘야 될 부분이 어떤 것이냐 이렇게 물어봐 주셔가지고 저희는 이제 어려운 점, 이제 고민하고 있는 점, 앞으로 해결해야 될 점을 말씀을 드렸고 이제 그 부분을 이제 의논해서 현재 진행 중에 있습니다.
일단 그 대통령님이 그 방문해서 어떻게 보면 사내적으로 본다면 저희 직원들의 사기가 많이 올라갔습니다.
네.
왜냐하면 그냥 그저 그런 중소기업인 줄 알았는데 대통령께서도 어떻게 보면 신경을 써줄 만큼 우리가 중요한 일을 하고 있다 이런 부분에서 직원들의 사기가 올라갔고요. 그리고 대외적으로는 저희들 어떤 제품에 대한 홍보 이런 부분이 우리가 어떤 많은 돈을 투자하고 많은 노력을 들여야 하는 부분이 일거에 어떻게 보면 국내에 이제 확실히 각인이 된 거고요. 저희 수요 기업들 쪽에서도 어떻게 보면 저희 제품을 갖다가 적극적으로 좀 채용을 해보겠다 이런 또 태도 변화가 또 생긴 게 또 가장 큰 어떻게 보면 이제 이익이라고 할 수 있습니다.
The remaining tasks at hand is cost reduction and being equipped with a large-scale mass production system to increase production competitiveness.
저희들이 지금 생각하기에는 연간 한 30만 대 정도의 어떤 생산 시스템을 갖춰야 원가적인 면에서 그렇고 품질 그리고 납기적인 면에서 충분한 경쟁을 갈 수 있다 생각합니다. 그래서 단시간 내에 어떤 30만 개 어떤 생산 체계를 갖다 갖추려고 하는 거고요. 그리고 그 이후에 또 목표로서는 뭐 어떻게 보면 이제 일본보다도 훨씬 더 나은 제품을 갖다가 더 낮은 가격에 그 국내 로봇 기업 그리고 또 글로벌로도 또 로봇 기업들 공급해서 궁극적으로는 일본 업체를 뛰어넘는 그런 그 회사가 되는 게 목표입니다.
Despite the difficult situations, a Korean company showed strong tenacity and perseverance to succeed in localizing a product. SBB TECH may be small, but it is a giant. This company has provided a foothold for Korea to be self-reliant on robot components. We look forward to a future when semiconductors and robots will be equipped with components made by SBB TECH.
Now, Professor, it was quite something that I got a cup of coffee from a robot. I've never had such an experience before. Have you had one?
Well, actually, I'm working in that area for my research.
Yeah.
One is the rehabilitation robot. They can help me for assisting. It is interaction between robot and I. It is called the HRI. Initialization is the human-robot interaction. So
for you, robots are kind of like your friends.
yeah.
Well, SBB TECH is the first company that President Moon Jae-in has visited after South Korea and Japan trade disputes started. And I think it was the classic example of gaining technological independence without depending on other countries. So what significance does it have to locally develop such a core component needed to manufacture robots?
Locally manufacturing the reduction gearbox, which is one of the core technology, core component in manufacturing robot. That is the sign of a self-reliance that proves South Korea can better itself in robot technology.
Well, as you have seen in the video, it has taken about a decade, 10 good years for SBB TECH to develop this reduction gearbox. But when we think of the current environment of the Korean robotics industry, as well as government regulations and policies, I believe there are certain adversities and difficulties that Korean companies face in terms of manufacturing or developing such technologies. What do you think?
It takes a long time to develop the core technology.
I'm sure.
You mentioned that 10 years, forget that. That means the government and also the policies do not aid companies for a long time for their research and develop technology. We need a long-term policy from the government and research fund, something like that.
So certain assistance from the government as well as new regulations, new assistance regulations will be needed. That's what you're saying.
New regulation for the small company for researching that kind of a core technology. Or we need a long-term research fund from the government
Funding will be an
Yeah,
important
yeah,
factor. Even if we have the core technology or develop such technology, the important thing is that the local robot industry needs to have that revitalized and vitalizing market. But it seems as though that Korean robotic industry is not as willing to accept or use those self-made or locally produced technologies because first of all, they haven't been tested sufficiently. And also the other thing is that South Korea has been so dependent on other countries for such a long time. So I believe there should be a change in attitude is also necessary. What's your opinion on that?
I think there are two sides. One is the manufacturer side, and the other one is the user side. It's time to change the awareness of both sides together. For the developer, they should spend more time for making better component, and also users should use that technology, even that is not a 100% perfect. That kind of awareness should be needed. That's why we need to have a compensation in each side. When companies face a disadvantage, we should have give the special compensation for that.
So you're saying that some sort of an incentive is needed for each side. Another question that I have is that trade dispute between South Korea and Japan exacerbate South Korea's economy has been hit hard, and there are people who are saying that this might also be a new window of opportunity for many South Korean companies to develop and manufacture their own technologies without depending on other countries. So what do you think?
Very difficult for the both sides.
For sure.
Yeah, manufacturer and the users. But if we recognize those sides are very important, and then they can do their requirement and their level of skill fully understand each other's position, then that will be a good starting point to come up with that difficulties. I think this is the good motivation for those sides.
So you're saying that this is a hard time that we're facing, but it could be used as a sort of like a turning point.
Yes.
Well, back in March, our government has announced that it will do what it can to make South Korea become one of the top 4 global power nations in robot industry by 2030. And what kind of measures do you think we need in order to achieve that?
This is very important to raise awareness on the basic technology. I want to say back to the basic, because the core technology is one of the most important thing in robot industry.
It's the fundamental.
Fundamental. That is the key. We must show an interest as well as support for Korean technology and our robot industry too.
Well, until now, the South Korean robotics industry had heavily relied on Japan for its core components. There are bound to be difficulties conflicted by the ongoing trade disputes between Korea and Japan, but I'm sure a day will come when we can change the industrial ecosystem with the efforts by companies that relentlessly try to improve their own competitiveness. So, Professor, what would be your last words to our viewers of Korea 4.0 as a scientist / robot developer / robot friend?
As the developer, if we have a core technology in hand, I can do many things very easily. For instance, actuator, which is the motor, is kind of muscle in the human being. But in fact, it takes a lot of money to buy that. And also, if got a trouble, it takes a long time to fix it.
To recover.
That's right. So if you have that core technology in our country, I can fix it easily. I can buy very cheaply. That is one of our competitiveness for developing as the researcher.
Well, thank you so much for your time and insights for today. Thank you so much for joining us in our show.
Thank you for having me.
Now that brings us to the end of this edition of Korea 4.0. We'll be back with another economic issue as well as stimulating discussions. I was Chung Se-mi. Thanks for watching.